Hello, today I'm talking about energy innovation for sustainable processing and manufacturing in the African agri-food sector. I'm Simon Ighofose. I'm the co-founder and CEO of PyroGenesys and also the co-inventor of the pyrochemy technology. PyroGenesys is a bioenergy and biofuels technology developer, and we also specialize in carbon removal. Details about our technology and the opportunities it offers. Well, pyrochemy is a containerized pyrolysis technology, and it uses chipped, pelletized, or flaked materials as its feedstock, and they have to be combustible. So we convert this combustible material into economically useful outputs, such as renewable electricity, process heat, biochar, which can be used as a soil conditioner, and bio-oil for upgrading to kerosene, renewable kerosene. Opportunities for collaboration on waste biomass projects that we're interested in speaking to people about involve cassava starch, flour, and ethanol production, rice mill and parboiling, breweries, maize processing, sugarcane processing, oil palm processing, any harvest waste conversion where there's at least 2,000 tons a year of dry material, gari production, and if you're a mini-grid operator operating in a rural location that has access to any of these type of materials, we would be very much interested in speaking with you. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about how collaboration has worked for our organization so far. We presently have MOUs in place with a number of organizations, and we plan through those MOUs to install demonstrators and pilot plants at each location. And this will allow us to run trials using different wastes of a variety of different crop types and materials. And in addition to that, these demonstrators and pilot trials will enable us to promote awareness of our pyrochemy technology. And we're seeking to roll this out, of course, across Africa. We also, through collaboration, have been able to develop a number of supply chain opportunities for ourselves and our project partners. In Nigeria, we worked with Babangona, who's one of the biggest farming cooperatives in the country. We also worked with Cool Mill, who are on this call today, on this event, and they have developed their own proprietary rice milling technology, which is a low energy technology ideally suited to remote locations using the electricity that we can generate from the rice husk that they produce as a waste. We've worked with cassava processors such as Atman Corp and looked at how we might be able to incorporate their outgrower communities into our value chain. And also, introductions to prospective customers and stakeholders is something that we're always interested in. And anybody that can provide us with in-country logistical support, especially when it comes to moving our equipment around the place. And also, of course, market intelligence for telling us where the demand is and what it looks like. So what we're looking for in terms of future opportunities and collaborations, let me just put this into context. First of all, if we were talking about, say, petrol, diesel, ethanol, or LPG, these are all standardized fuels. The problem is that waste biomass or waste is not standardized. And therefore, it means that in order to use it as a feedstock, it needs to be standardized. It needs a benchmark. And all new feedstocks would have to go through a benchmarking and standardization process. So any company that wants to use pyrochemy to add value to their waste, therefore needs to standardize and benchmark that waste. And that would require a feedstock trial. And that feedstock trial would need to be funded by that company. So each waste biomass to standardize and benchmark it needs to be characterized, tested, and typically treated before it can be classified as a pyrochemy feedstock. Biomass variability, which is the thing that causes problems, is affected by crop type. So for instance, rice straw performs very differently to rice husk. Comes from the same source, but different aspects. And that again can be, each crop can be affected by the growing conditions and also the agronomic inputs. So going back to rice, rice grown in one location or one country is not going to be the same, have the same characteristics as that grown in another country for those reasons. There's going to be a lot of variability. And standardization removes variability. Each waste biomass will perform differently in terms of its outputs, therefore, that it produces per ton of the feedstock, as well as the quality of those products. And this is in terms of the, so when we talk about per ton of feedstock, how many kilowatts of electricity is it going to produce? How many kilowatts of process heat will it produce? How many kilograms of biochar will it produce? And per ton of that feedstock, how many liters of bio-oil would it produce? Now, in order to answer all these questions, as I mentioned previously, we need to run a feedstock trial, and it costs to run feedstock trials. So it's only fair that we pass on this cost. And therefore, any prospective customer wanting to use our PyroGenesys system to add value to their waste would therefore need to finance a 1-month feedstock trial and supply us with sufficient quantity of dried waste to run the trial. And this is because the people who are going to finance the purchasing of this equipment, because we don't sell the equipment, we sell you the heat or the electricity, and so that would save you a lot of money in not having to raise that capital. But the people who do give us the capital to build the equipment, they require feedstock trial information for each project before approving the CapEx required to build that machine. So if this is of interest to you, then I'd very much like to hear from you today and look forward to speaking with you. Thank you very much.